Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a new idea that's totally changing the game for online businesses. We're calling it the AI Chief Marketing Officer. Or maybe a better way to think about it is as a doctor for your business.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? Every founder, every marketer, you've felt that cold knot of panic in your stomach. You pull up your dashboard and you're just staring at it, asking this exact question. Yar, how did the sales just drop like that? Or what on earth just happened?
And look, this really is the multi-million-dollar question, because finding the answer is the difference between scaling to the moon and, well, shutting down. It's the big, central mystery that keeps people in the direct-to-consumer world up at night.
Okay, let's get into it. Why is this super common problem so incredibly hard to solve? The issue isn't that we don't have enough information, it's that most businesses are just absolutely drowning in data.
Does any of this sound painfully familiar? Revenue just plummets, and it feels like a total mystery. Your team's got a dozen different theories, but nobody actually knows what to fix first. And all the while, these silent killers, like creative fatigue, are just burning through your ad budget, and your agency is pretty much left making educated guesses.
And here's the crazy paradox at the heart of it all. Founders are sitting on these huge mountains of data from Shopify, from Meta, from Google Analytics, but when things actually go wrong, they have zero real answers. It just leads to this painful cycle of guessing, testing, and just hoping for the best, which, let's be honest, usually just means wasting a ton of time and money.
And it turns out the tools we're all using are a huge part of the problem. Things like Triple Whale or Peel, they're great at showing you what happened. They'll tell you your conversion rate dropped or your click-through rate fell, but they have no idea why. They're kind of like an X-ray machine that just hands you a picture, but with no doctor around to actually read it and tell you what it means.
So if the old tools are only showing us the symptoms, what's the cure? Well, it takes a totally different way of thinking about this, a new paradigm. We need a doctor for our business.
And this quote, it nails it. We have hit peak dashboard, you guys. Another chart, another graph, that is not the answer. What businesses really need is a system that can actually think, that can analyze, that can connect the dots for you. It needs a brain.
So this is the key analogy to really get your head around. The old way, the dashboard, that's just the X-ray machine. It gives you the raw data, the picture. The new way, the AI CMO, that's the doctor. It's the one who reads that X-ray, diagnoses the exact problem, the real root cause, and then tells you precisely what the prescription is.
So let's put a real definition on this. An AI CMO is what's called a decision intelligence system, and its job is to do three super critical things. First, it diagnoses why your numbers tanked. Second, it prescribes what specific action you need to take. And third, it even generates how to do it, like creating new ad angles or writing fresh copy. Okay, so this whole AI doctor thing sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Like, how does it go from a bunch of data to a real diagnosis and a prescription you can use? It actually follows this really clear, super logical 5-step process. First, it detects that something's off, a drop in revenue, a dip in click-through rate, whatever. Then, it starts digging to diagnose the root cause. From there, it prescribes a very precise fix, generates the creative strategy you'll need, and finally, it even forecasts the impact that fix is expected to have.
So what does it usually find? Well, get ready for this, because this chart is pretty eye-opening. A whopping 75% of the time, the culprit is creative fatigue. Yep, that just means your ads have stopped working because your audience is sick of seeing them. It's the biggest but most overlooked silent killer of performance out there.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, I get it. It's just another AI that spits out a bunch of ad ideas. And you know what? That's a fair question. But that misses the single most important part of this whole process. And the answer is this concept called conditional intelligence. See, the AI strategist doesn't just randomly generate ideas. It only suggests new creative after it has diagnosed creative fatigue as the actual root cause. It's just like a doctor. They're going to confirm you have a bacterial infection before they give you antibiotics. Diagnosis first, prescription second, always. So what's the real-world impact of all this? What does this new approach actually feel like? Well, it's about a complete transformation for a business. It's about moving from a state of constant, stressful chaos to one of total clarity. I mean, just look at the two worlds side by side. The old way is what I call the guesswork loop. We've all lived it, right?
You guess what's broken, you test some random fix, you hope and pray that it works, and you usually end up wasting a bunch of time and money. The new way is the intelligence loop. You diagnose the exact cause, prescribe a precise fix, forecast the impact, and your whole system actually learns and gets better over time.
And this quote from someone who's actually using this kind of tech, it just says everything. Imagine that feeling, that peace of mind. No more guessing games, just a clear, data-backed path forward, where the AI tells you exactly what broke, exactly what to do next, and then goes and proves that it worked.
So the big question is, why is this massive shift happening right now? This isn't just some clever idea that popped up out of nowhere. It's the result of some really powerful forces in the market all coming together at once. It's really shaping the future of business strategy as we speak.
We're basically in the middle of a perfect storm, and it's driven by these three key things. First, AI reasoning models have finally gotten good enough to handle complex, strategic thinking. At the exact same time, competition in e-commerce is it's brutal, it's fiercer than ever. And finally, ad performance is all over the place. It's incredibly volatile, so businesses desperately need an edge, and that edge is intelligence.
So if you take away one thing, let it be this. We are not talking about another dashboard or some fancy reporting tool. This is a whole new category. It is a single AI brain that's designed to replace the work of an entire team. The analyst pulling the data, the strategist finding the insight, the creative director coming up with the angles, and the consultant trying to find leaks in your funnel.
And this all brings us to our final slide, and a really powerful question to think about. We're watching AI grow up from being a tool for simple tasks to being a partner in really complex strategic roles. So if it can master the job of a chief marketing officer, what C-suite role is it going to redefine next?